There was a Roman emperor who discovered something so powerful that the people who understand it today almost never lose control of their emotions. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the exact mental system he used to stop suffering before it even begins. And by the end of this video, you'll have 7 responses. 7 lines that can silence almost anyone who tries to knock you off balance. Stay with me. Have you ever replayed one sentence for an entire night? One comment, one look, one thing someone said to you in passing? Almost everyone has. The Stoics had a name for that feeling. They called it being defeated without a single blow landed on you. Tonight that ends. Here's where it starts. Epictetus was born enslaved. His own master broke his leg once, just to prove that he could. That man went on to become one of the most feared debaters in Rome. Not because he shouted louder, because he understood one thing almost nobody else did. Nobody can insult you without your permission. Everything in this video comes from that single idea. Epictetus wrote this line almost 2,000 years ago. People are troubled not by events themselves, but by the meaning they attach to them. Read that again. Not the insult, not the silence in the room, not the message that's still sitting there, unread. The pain comes from the story your mind writes in the half-second after. Marcus Aurelius wrote almost the same thing to himself in a private notebook, never meant for anyone else to read. Your mind holds power over nothing except itself. Realize that, and you find your footing again. Here's the part people miss. The Stoics never said words don't hurt. Seneca wrote entire letters about the damage language can do. What they said was more precise than that. The wound and your reaction to the wound are 2 separate events, and only one of them belongs to you. Every response tonight lives inside that gap. I might be wrong. 3 words, and right now part of you is arguing with me, because everything in you says this is what weak people say. The Stoics believed the exact opposite. Marcus Aurelius, commander of legions, emperor of Rome, wrote this to himself. If anyone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change. He didn't write that for an audience. He wrote it in private. Here's the mechanism. Anyone trying to provoke you is fishing for your ego. They want you rigid, defensive, cornered, because a cornered person is predictable. Say I might be wrong, and there's nothing left to push against. You just remove the only handle they had on you. Wait, here's the scary part. The message underneath those 3 words is what actually wins. I'm not afraid of being wrong, which means I'm not afraid of you. There's an account of Epictetus getting cornered by a student. Loud, aggressive, accusing him of contradicting his own teaching. Epictetus didn't defend a single word. He just said, "Maybe you found something I missed. Tell me more." The student came loaded for a fight. There was nothing left to fight. Remember this. Next time someone tries to corner you, don't defend your ego. Question it first. Silence. You're already objecting. But I have to say something. You don't. Seneca gave his friend Lucilius this advice. Spend time with people who make you better. Retreat into yourself when you need to. Stay away from those who complain about everything. Notice something. His method for staying away was never an argument. It was simply leaving. Think about this. When someone attacks you, they're starting a transaction. They want your fear, your anger, your scrambling. Silence refuses the transaction. Not sulky silence, not cold shoulder silence, a different animal entirely. The silence of someone who heard exactly what was said, weighed it, and decided it wasn't worth spending words on. Marcus Aurelius practiced catching the urge to respond before it became words, and asking one question first: does this moment actually need my voice? He needed that discipline constantly. Senators baiting him, generals testing him, and the accounts from his own era say the same thing, again and again. He paused. Often he didn't answer at all. Here's the part that should unsettle you. Fire back instantly, and you just handed someone a map of exactly which buttons work on you. Measured silence hands them nothing. Remember this: the most unshakable people you'll ever meet all share one thing. When they're challenged, they don't rush to speak. The silence is the answer. That's one way to see it. This one takes real discipline. It asks you to engage without judging, to acknowledge someone without agreeing with them. Epictetus opened his entire handbook with one line: some things are within our power, some are not. That's one way to see it, is that idea turned into a sentence. Notice what it doesn't say. It doesn't say you agree. It doesn't say you disagree. It takes no position at all. What it does say is this: I heard you. I registered what you think. And I'm choosing not to make it mine. Stop for a second. The Stoics believed we unconsciously absorb the emotional weather of everyone around us. Their certainty, their anxiety. That's one way to see it, as a firewall against that. Real space between what someone said and what you eventually do about it. But it has to be genuine. Say it while you're seething inside and you've learnt nothing. Marcus Aurelius rehearsed something every single morning. The people I deal with today will be difficult, ungrateful, dishonest. And then he reminded himself of one more thing. That person is still built from the same material I am. Remember this. When a Stoic says it, here's what it really means. I see you as a person who arrived somewhere I can examine, not somewhere I need to fear. Let me sit with that. We live in a culture that made speed into a virtue. Answer instantly. React in real time. The Stoics diagnosed this exact habit 2,000 years before it had a name. Seneca reviewed his entire day before sleep, every night, asking honestly where he'd gone wrong. Time reveals what haste hides. Let me sit with that does three things. It protects reason from impulse. It sends a message almost nobody expects. I'm taking what you said seriously enough to think about it. And it buys you room to sit inside discomfort without needing to fill it with noise. Here's proof it works. The historian Cassius Dio described Marcus Aurelius presiding over legal disputes. He asked follow-up questions, requested time, slept on decisions before making them. People at the time found it maddening. History has judged him rather well for it. I'll be honest with you. Of all 7, this one took me the most personal work. The instinct to prove you we're never caught off guard is deeply human. It's also, the Stoics would say, deeply unhelpful. Remember this. 4 words. Not a retreat. An act of nerve. You might be right. Notice the shift from response 1. I might be wrong looks inward, at your own blind spots. This one looks outward. Genuine openness to someone else's position, a much harder muscle to use. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, taught something most people never hear. The point of an argument was never to win it. It was to arrive at what's actually true. You might be right works for a reason that has nothing to do with strategy. Said with no hidden agenda, it signals real goodwill. And people can feel the difference between that and a performance, almost instantly. To be clear, it's not surrender. It's not agreement. It means I'm holding your position open as a real possibility, instead of treating it as a threat. Have you ever had someone actually change your mind? Think about it for a second. I'd bet it wasn't the force of their argument. It was the feeling that they respected you enough to want you to understand, not to beat you. Remember this. That's how you hand someone that same feeling. Even in the hardest conversation you've had all year. This one isn't mine to carry. This response is rarely spoken out loud. Most of the time it's private. A quiet intervention in the half-second before your mouth opens and says the thing you'll be replaying at 2 in the morning. Epictetus called it the faculty of choice. The one part of you that decides what to engage with and what to simply let pass through. He considered it the actual center of human freedom. Marcus Aurelius balanced two ideas at once. Doing nothing can itself be a kind of wrong. But the obstacle in the path becomes the path. Not every obstacle is a fight worth having. Imagine this. A co-worker dismisses your work in front of the whole team. Your face goes hot. Your heart rate spikes. Every cell in your body says, defend yourself. Push back. Make them look bad in return. Here's the question a Stoic asks instead. What's the best outcome I can get in the next 60 seconds? And what's the best outcome I can get in the next 60 days? Those answers are usually completely different. The Stoic picks the second one. Every time, remember this. Said or unsaid, this one isn't mine to carry as choosing the long game. That's not passivity. That's strategy, dressed up as calm. Thanks for telling me. The hardest one on this list. Not because the words are complicated. 4 of them. Plain as anything. Because meaning them requires the deepest ground of all 7. In Meditations, Book 1, Marcus Aurelius lists every person who shaped him, and exactly what each one taught him. He's not thanking the people who made his life easy. He's thanking the people who made him better. Those turn out to be a completely different list. The Stoics practice something close to amor fati, love of what actually happens, instead of resistance to it. Thanks for telling me as that idea, dropped straight into conversation. Even hostile criticism carries information somewhere inside it. Data about how you're actually perceived. Here's the honest part though. The Stoics were never sentimental about this. Epictetus was clear. Feedback still has to be weighed with reason, not swallowed whole. But he was just as clear about something else. The reflex to dismiss criticism on contact is one of the most reliable signs that a person has quietly stopped growing. Remember this. A day only really becomes yours once you've gathered everything it offered, including the parts that were hard to hear. There's a version of you that never scrambles for words again. Not because you memorized 7 clever lines. Because you absorbed something underneath them. You are not your reputation. You are not someone else's opinion of you. You are not your worst sentence on your worst day. Marcus Aurelius never wrote Meditations to impress history. He wrote it because every single day he had to fight the same battle you're fighting today. Not against people, against his own mind. That's the real lesson. Master your mind, and life loses its power to shake you. Quick recap. 7 responses. Tonight I might be wrong. Silence, that's one way to see it. Let me sit with that. You might be right. This one isn't mine to carry. Thanks for telling me. None of these become yours from watching a video once. They become yours through practice. The same daily discipline Epictetus called training. So here's what I want you to actually do. Pick one, just one. Try it tomorrow. Not in a crisis, in some completely ordinary moment, where you feel that old pull to react fast and hot. If this video helped you reclaim even a little control over your mind, subscribe to Stoic Virtus. Because here we don't chase motivation. We train the mind that no setback can break. And before you leave, tell me in the comments, which Stoic principle is the hardest for you to live, even though you already know it's true. Until next time, this is Stoic Virtus. Stay disciplined, stay grounded, and remember, the greatest victory is the one no one else can see.